Jackson sat in his repair bay, fixing a broken drone, when the message came in. It was marked Urgent Human Council Order. He wiped oil off his hands and tapped the screen. His eyes narrowed. Congratulations. You have been selected for an interplanetary unity bond under Alliance Law 47. Your bride, Commander Thalzira of the Titanan Empire, awaits. He blinked. What? Another message appeared. It had a photo. A giant alien woman in thick metal armor, glowing red eyes, sharp teeth. 9 feet tall, built like a tank. Her face was serious, dead serious. Jackson stood up so fast his chair fell back. No, he said. No way, this has to be a mistake. But more messages followed. Official documents, signed approvals, a list of names, his name, her name, marriage contract, irrevocable under Titanan tradition. He stormed into the command office. Commander Rives, tell me this is some prank. Commander Rives looked up slowly. His face was tired. It's not. The council picked you. This marriage means peace. Titanans respect honor-bonded unions. I don't even know her. Neither did she. She didn't get a choice either. Jackson froze. Wait, she didn't want this too? She's a warrior, a commander. Probably more upset than you. But she's a giant. I'm just me. Rives nodded slowly. Yes, but this isn't about size. It's about peace. Her planet threatened to leave the Alliance. This marriage saved it. Jackson slumped in the chair. You're selling me like a tool. You were chosen because you're calm. You don't panic. You fix things machines, and maybe. This. That night, Jackson didn't sleep. He stared at her photo on his screen. Her armor was covered in deep claw marks. She looked like someone who had never smiled. Her eyes were cold, distant. The council scheduled the wedding in 72 hours. A shuttle would take him to the Titanan ship. Cameras from both species would broadcast the union. They called it the Bond of Unity. He called it a disaster. He thought about running. But where would he go? Every outpost, every station, every port was under Alliance control. If he ran, humans could lose everything they built with the aliens. Trade, peace, safety, all because of him. 2 days passed. On the 3rd morning, he stood outside the landing bay. A massive alien shuttle hovered above, lowering with a deep mechanical growl. Wind blew across the field. Jackson's heart raced. A small alien elder stepped out of the shuttle, holding a scroll. She looked up at Jackson and spoke with a deep voice. Thalzira awaits. She honors the bond, do you? Jackson's throat was dry. He couldn't speak. The elder looked closer. You are afraid, wouldn't you be? She is fierce, but she does not wish to hurt. She was also forced. Jackson looked at the open shuttle ramp. A voice came from inside, quiet but deep. Human, I do not want this either. But I will not shame you in front of your kind. I offer honor. Not pain. He stepped forward slowly. Every camera pointed at him. The entire station watched. He took a breath and walked into the ship. As the ramp closed behind him, a cold voice whispered from the shadows. Let us get this over with, mate. The alien ship was dark inside walls made of cold steel, lit with glowing blue lines. Jackson followed the elder down a long corridor, his boots echoing with every step. No one spoke. Alien guards lined the hall, all of them tall, armored, silent. He felt like a toy among statues. The elder stopped in front of a thick door. Commander Thalzira is inside. Jackson took a shaky breath. Do I bow or something? The elder didn't smile. Don't insult her with fear. Just look her in the eyes. The doors hissed open. He stepped into a wide chamber. There were no chairs, no lights, just a glowing fire pit in the center. Strange alien symbols moved slowly along the walls, like they were alive. And then he saw her. Thalzira. She stood at the far end of the room. Her back was turned, her armor tall and sharp. Her presence made the air feel heavier. Jackson tried to stay calm, but his heartbeat was loud in his ears. She turned around slowly. Helmet on, motionless. She walked toward him, her footsteps loud and firm. Then, right in front of him, she stopped. Her hands moved to her helmet, slowly unlocking the sides. With a soft hiss, she lifted it off. Jackson stared. This wasn't what he expected. Yes, her face was strong, angular jaw, thick black markings across her cheeks, scars on her neck. But her eyes, they weren't glowing red like the photos. They were dark, deep, sad, not anger, not power, sadness. She looked tired, like someone carrying a weight too long. "I am Falzira," she said, her voice calm, almost quiet. "Do you wish to scream now?" Jackson blinked. "Why would I?" She tilted her head. "Because that's what humans do when they see me. Or laugh, or run." He didn't speak. She stepped closer. "You did not run." "I wanted to," he said honestly. "But they told me if I did, it would destroy the peace treaty." She turned away, looking into the fire pit. "They told me the same. That if I refused, my people would lose their place in the stars." There was silence between them. Then she added, softer now, "I am no bride human. I was made for war. My hands are not soft. My voice is not sweet. I don't even know how to smile." Jackson looked down. "They chose the wrong people. Maybe," she said. "But we have one thing in common." "What?" "We were both used." He looked at her again. The tall alien giantess, the feared commander, the monster in armor. But now, she looked almost human, lonely. "I don't want to fake a marriage," Jackson said quietly. "I don't want to own a human," she replied, "or wear dresses, or kiss in front of cameras." He looked at her eyes again. They weren't cold anymore. They were scared. Just like his. "Then maybe," Jackson said slowly, "we don't fake it. Maybe we survive it, together." Falzira looked at him. For a moment, nothing moved. Then finally her voice softened. "Agreed." That night, as the alien ship drifted silently through space, two strangers sat by a fire. No armor, no war, just silence. And eyes that had finally seen the truth in each other. The ship drifted through deep space like a silent giant. Hours passed after their strange, uncomfortable meeting. Jackson stayed in the small guest chamber. They gave him cold metal floors, no bed, only a thin mat and one dim light. He couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw her face. Not angry, not fierce, but tired, broken inside. More human than anyone had told him. Finally, he stood up and paced. His hands shook. His mind raced. He didn't want this marriage. But he didn't want her suffering either. A soft beep sounded at the door. He jumped. The screen lit up. "Commander Falzira requests your presence." "Chamber 7. Jackson frowned. Why would she want him at night? Was something wrong? He stepped into the hallway. Two tall guards silently guided him through twisting corridors until they reached a large, sliding door. The guards stepped aside. Jackson swallowed hard and walked inside. The room was dark, lit only by a glowing blue crystal hanging from the ceiling, soft light, like moonlight. The place felt different, warmer somehow. A long curtain hung near the corner. He didn't see her at first. Then he heard metal clatter, a deep breath, a low sigh. Falzira was behind the curtain. Jackson stepped closer, unsure if he should speak. "Falzira, are you okay?" She froze. Then her voice came out soft, embarrassed. "Do not come closer. I just want to help," he said gently. "You cannot help this," she replied. "It is only armor." "Armor?" Jackson hesitated. But the curtain wasn't fully closed. A small gap remained. He didn't mean to look, but he did. And what he saw made him step back in shock. Falzira stood with her back toward him, half out of her armor. Her massive metal plates lay on the floor around her. She was tall and strong, yes. But that wasn't what shocked him. Her skin, her back, covered in scars, long scars. Short scars. Deep ones, fresh ones. Some old enough to look like pale white lines. Others dark and swollen. Dozens of them. She wasn't a monster. She was a survivor. Jackson's breath caught. Who did that to you? She stiffened. You looked. I didn't mean. It does not matter, she whispered. Humans find this ugly. Ugly? Jackson stepped forward before thinking. Thalzira. That's pain. You lived through pain I can't even imagine. She didn't turn around. These are from training. My people give scars as proof of strength. They do not allow weakness. When I failed, they cut. When I won, they burned marks to remind me to win again. Jackson felt sick. You were just a girl. She let out a shaky breath. I was born in a warrior camp. My future decided at birth. They told me to fight. To kill. To never feel fear. And now they force me to marry a stranger to keep peace. Her voice cracked at the last word. That was the first time he ever heard weakness in her. Jackson slowly stepped toward the curtain. You're not alone, he said softly. Not anymore. She turned her head slightly, just enough for him to see her profile. The tension in her jaw, the way her eyes glowed softer than before. You pity me, she murmured. No, Jackson whispered. I finally understand you. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then she moved the curtain aside and faced him fully armor off, wearing only a thin cloth wrap over her body, tall and vulnerable in a way he never expected. Her eyes met his. Not warrior eyes, not commander eyes. Just a woman who had carried too many wounds alone. If we are to survive this bond, she said in a low voice, we must trust each other. Truly trust. Jackson nodded. Then tonight, everything changes. And it did. For the first time, they talked until the ship's artificial sunrise. No lies, no fear, no armor, just truth. Two strangers, one room. And the beginning of something neither had expected. 2 days after their long midnight talk, something unexpected happened. The ship was flying low over a rural human-alien farming zone on the border planet Krullen 5. It was meant to be a peace mission, just a visit, no conflict. Jackson and Thalzira were seated apart in the same shuttle, both quiet, pretending to be a happy married couple. The fields below shimmered with golden plants. Alien kids waved at the shuttle, then the alarm rang. Distress signal village under attack. Thalzira stood up fast. Pirates, Jackson blinked. What? Pirates? Here? She looked at the Display 6 raider ships landing fast, weapons armed. The peaceful village below had no defense systems. She didn't wait. She grabbed her armor, strapping it on with speed and force. Her voice turned cold. They'll take slaves, burn crops, kill anyone who resists. Jackson followed her toward the exit ramp. Wait, we're going down? Alone? She looked back. I am sworn to protect. You're insane. I won't let children die. Before he could argue, the ramp opened. She jumped. Straight into battle. He swore under his breath and grabbed the only thing near him, a heavy repair wrench. I'm going to regret this. Jackson dropped behind her as chaos unfolded. Buildings burned. Raiders fired plasma shots. Screams filled the air. Thalzira moved like thunder, fast, brutal, and focused. She slammed into a raider with her shoulder, flipping him into a wall. She kicked another across the ground, then covered a group of hiding children with her shield. Jackson didn't have her size or power, but he had his mind. He spotted a fuel line leaking from a raider ship. Hey, he yelled, waving his arms. A pirate turned toward him, aiming his weapon. Jackson ducked and tossed a metal shard at the fuel line. It sparked, boom. The ship went up in flames, knocking out 2 more pirates. Thalzira turned, surprised. Human, what did you do? I improvised. More pirates charged. Jackson saw one sneaking behind her. Duck, he shouted. She dropped low, and he swung the wrench with both hands right into the pirate's helmet. Crack! The pirate fell. She stood again, eyes wide. You fight? No, I panic with style. She smirked just a little. They fought side by side. For every punch she threw, he followed with a clever move. When she took a hit, he dragged her behind cover and patched her armor with wire and foam. When he stumbled, she pulled him up like he weighed nothing. After 10 long minutes, the pirates ran. Sirens blared. Alliance reinforcements arrived late, but found the battle already won. Jackson dropped to his knees, breathing hard. Thalzira stood tall above him, her armor cracked, one arm bleeding. She looked down and offered him a hand. You were not useless. He took her hand and stood up. You're kind of amazing. She tilted her head. You did not freeze. You acted. You protected. He shrugged. We're married, right? She didn't laugh. But she did nod. Later, inside the ship, they sat side by side in the med bay. He handed her a cloth to clean her arm. She took it gently. I didn't think you would follow me, she said. I didn't think I'd survive. Silence. Then she added, but we did. Jackson smiled faintly. So now what? Thalzira turned to him slowly. Now, she said, we stop pretending we are enemies. The day after the battle, Jackson sat alone in the ship's maintenance room. Tools were scattered on the table. Sparks flew from the welding stick in his hand as he repaired a cracked chest plate, Thalzira's armor. She had left it with him after their fight with the pirates. Fix it if you like, she had said. I trust your hands more than the machines. It was the first time she had used the word trust. Jackson smiled at the memory, then paused. Something felt off. There was a strange pattern scratched into the inside of the armor hidden beneath a panel near the heart plate. The marks weren't part of the metal's damage. They were carefully carved, like letters. In Titanan script. His heart skipped. He activated the scanner and ran the text through his translator. It slowly loaded. I do not belong to this path. I want to escape, but there is no door. I am not a weapon. I want to heal. I want to be free. Jackson froze. This was a message, secret, hidden, personal, from her. These weren't battlefield records or military codes. These were feelings. Honest words, buried where no one could see them. He swallowed hard. She had never told him this. He didn't know what to do. Confront her? Ignore it? That evening, Thalzira returned. Her arm was bandaged, and her hair was braided loosely, something she never did before. A small sign she was relaxing around him. She entered the room silently, saw the armor on the table, and sat down across from him. It looks good, she said softly. You are skilled. He didn't reply right away. Instead, he looked into her eyes. I saw something. Her eyes narrowed. What? He tapped the heart plate. Inside, scratched text. In your language. She went still, completely still, like a statue. For a moment, Jackson thought she might walk out, but then she exhaled slowly. You were not supposed to see that. Then why write it? In my world, she said quietly, we are not allowed to speak weakness, but I needed to speak it somewhere. Even if no one ever read it. I read it, he said gently. She looked away. I'm not a soldier by heart, she whispered. I learned to fight, to kill, to lead, but I never wanted it. What did you want? I wanted to be a healer. I wanted to study plants, help my people. Not lead armies, not marry strangers, not become this. She gestured to herself like she was something broken. Jackson stood up, walked around the table, and sat beside her. You're not broken, he said. You're trapped, just like I was. But you're still fighting. In your own way. She looked at him, really looked at him. You are strange human. Most would fear my size. My scars, my strength. You only see something else. I see someone who wants to be seen, he said softly. Her hand moved, unsure, and rested beside his. They didn't touch, but they were close, very close. Then she whispered, do you think there is still time for me to choose a new path? He didn't smile. He just nodded. Yes, but not alone. And for the first time, Thalzira closed her eyes. Not in anger, not in pain, but in peace. The next day, a message came from Thalzira's homeworld. It was a challenge. The Council of Elders demanded Jackson complete the Trial of Fire, an ancient Titanan test to prove his worth as Thalzira's bondmate. If he failed, the marriage would be seen as dishonorable. Do they think I'm some kind of warrior now? Jackson asked bitterly. Thalzira looked troubled. This trial is not about strength alone, it's about soul. But no outsider has ever passed it. Jackson clenched his jaw. So they want me to fail. They expect it, she admitted. But if you don't try, they'll say you're weak. That our bond is a lie. He sighed and looked at her. Then I'll try. Not because of them. Because of you. She looked down, hiding the way her lips almost curved. They arrived at the Titanan trial grounds, a massive stone ring surrounded by warriors, elders, and fire pits. The sky was red, and heat shimmered in the air. Drums echoed through the canyon. Jackson stood in the center, sweat on his forehead, nerves twisting in his stomach. A cloaked elder stepped forward. You are not Titanan. You are soft, small, and fragile. But we give you one chance. He handed Jackson a sealed box. In this box is an injured flamewing, a rare creature sacred to us. Your trial is to heal it before the last flame dies. Jackson opened the box slowly. Inside lay a trundling alien bird, its wings cracked, its body shaking, its feathers scorched. He gasped. It's barely alive. The elder said coldly, so is trust between your species. Thalzira watched from the edge, her fists tight. She hated this trial. She hated how they judged him by strength when his power was in his heart. Jackson knelt beside the creature. He remembered her scars. He remembered her hidden message. And he made a choice. He didn't rush. He didn't panic. He spoke softly to the flamewing, even though it couldn't understand him. Then, with calm hands, he used a mix of human medical tools and Titanan herbs she once told him about, ones used by healers before war replaced healing. He broke open a leaf, pressed it to the wounds, and cooled the cracked wings with a water mist he made from melted fire crystals. The audience whispered. The drums stopped. No one moved. Minutes passed. Then, the flame around the stone ring dimmed to its last spark. Suddenly the bird twitched. Its eyes opened. Its wings lifted slow, but steady. It chirped once and fluttered to its feet. Alive. He had done it. The crowd gasped. An elder dropped his staff. Another warrior bowed. Thalzira covered her mouth, eyes wide with disbelief and pride. Jackson stood, his hands shaking but steady. The head elder stepped forward, voice deep and surprised. You healed it, without strength, without weapons. Only care, patience, intelligence. You honored our sacred trial. In a way we had forgotten. He looked at Thalzira. You're human. Is worthy. Jackson looked at her too. And for the first time, she ran to him. Not as a commander, not as a stranger, but as a partner. She wrapped her arms around him, holding him tight. Not because of duty, but because of choice. I knew you'd surprise them, she whispered. I just wanted to be enough for you, he whispered back. You already were. The Titanan capital stood still. For the first time in decades, a second wedding ceremony was called, not a political one, not forced. This one was different. This one was real. Jackson stood before the grand crystal arch, where thousands of Titanans had gathered. He wore simple robes, gray and blue, the colors of unity. No armor, no helmet. Just him. Thalzira walked toward him slowly. But she was no longer the same giantess who once terrified him. She had removed her war armor forever. She wore soft ceremonial fabric, light and flowing, wrapped across her powerful form with gold threads. Her long black braids fell behind her shoulders. For the first time, she wore no scars on display, only a glowing mark above her heart. It was a new scar, fresh, etched in her own hand. It read one word in Titanan script, Jackson. As she stood beside him, their eyes locked, not as strangers, not as prisoners of duty, but as two souls who had fought through fear, battle, shame, and silence together. The elder raised his voice. This bond was once written by council hands, but today it is chosen by heart. The audience stood in silence. Jackson took her hand, his fingers barely wrapped around even two of hers, but it didn't matter. He held it like it was made of gold. "Do you choose her?" the elder asked. Jackson looked up at Thalzira and smiled softly. "I already did," the elder turned. "And do you, Thalzira, daughter of the fire clans, choose this human?" She didn't answer right away. Instead, she bent one knee and knelt before Jackson. Gasps filled the crowd. Titanan warriors never knelt. "I do," she said, her voice steady. "And not because I was ordered, but because he saw me when no one else did." Jackson gently touched her face, lifting her back to her feet. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a simple ring hand-forged from alien alloy and human silver. No crown, no war medals, just this. He placed the ring on her finger. It looked tiny, but she held her hand up like it was the greatest treasure she had ever worn. The elder raised his hand. "Then by the stars, and by your will not ours, who are now truly bonded," the crowd erupted. Not in formality, but in respect. Real, thunderous, honest respect. After the ceremony, they walked together into the quiet garden behind the arch. No cameras, no audience, just them. The air smelled of sweet alien flowers. Crystals in the trees hummed gently. Thalzira sat on a stone bench, breathing deeply. Jackson sat beside her. Neither spoke for a while. Then she said, "I was told humans break easily." He chuckled. "We do, but you didn't break. You changed me instead." He looked at her, serious now. "And you made me braver than I ever thought I could be." She leaned closer, her massive frame lowering until their foreheads touched. "I no longer hate what I see in the mirror," she whispered. "Because now I know someone sees beauty in it," Jackson smiled. "Always did." Then he reached into his robe and pulled out a small item, her old helmet, but he had painted it. Covered the battle scars with art, half human, half Titanan symbols. Interlocked, she stared at it in awe. "Why?" he shrugged. "Thought it should reflect who you really are." She took it with shaking hands, held it to her chest, and for the first time, Thalzira cried. Not from pain, but from peace.